My name is Daniel Kraft. I'm here with Nancy Gill, a friend of NewsGator who has been a customer, he's a long-time veteran in the HR space, and she is going to share with us a little bit about how social has impacted her life. But before we do this, why don't you share a little bit how you arrived where we are today, how you became a fan of social?
From a pretty early age, I saw what I think was really a management experiment in how to really unleash the potential and the power of people. I learned what it was like to be in love with your job and totally committed. So 30 years later, now, because we have technology and because we have social, and our new generation of workers is very savvy in taking advantage of this opportunity, we can bring that same kind of sense of community and commitment to organizations that I knew, again, when I was first starting. It was very special.
So I know you talk a lot about talent, and do you see a trend that with the introduction of social networks, we need to rethink how we talk and think about talent?
Absolutely. When I come to work, you know, in many organizations, you find that then you're put in a cubicle or put in an office, and then you're in meetings and you walk out and you say, did I just spend my time in a valuable way? You know, do I have the right information that I need to come back to this group with the next time? What did we really accomplish? Do we have a plan? So I really feel that in my work life, I do spend a lot of time looking for information, looking for people, trying to connect people. Email, which is something I think I'm pretty good at. I have big problems with it when it becomes a chain of 22 things in the chain. Version control is a huge issue, especially in a big organization when you might be working on big presentations that a lot of people are touching. For me, that becomes a bigger problem. So what social's allowed me to do is just really kind of put all of my people literally on the same page in the teams that I've managed. So, you know, we've really been able to bring people together. In my last job, I managed 300 people that were all around the world. And, you know, the initial job was to really make that team feel smaller. We could not have done it if it wasn't for collaborative technology and social.
So when you're looking at today's challenge to win talent, you have been working for a pretty cool brand, the NFL, but you have also been working for JP Morgan, which is a brand that is also well known, but in recent history has a tough time with the public perception.
Right.
So how important is the individual brand for recruiting, and how is social helping us to extend this brand and making sure that we not just winning people, but also keep them on board?
Well, it's huge when it comes to the external standpoint and what it does for you for recruiting. So let's take on-campus recruiting, you know, which we do an awful lot of at JP Morgan, and we started at the NFL. You know, they are, again, like me now, living off their smartphone. So, you know, it's important to be able to connect with them in the way they want to be connected to you.
But how do we educate that you're working 24/7 and yet you need to recharge? And especially in the HR world, where you have to deal with the, you know, the nasty things like a burnout or somebody, you know, not capable to keep up. But those are wonderful people. So is there an increased sensitivity towards, you know, recharging on the HR side now that, you know, there is no line anymore?
Yeah, and well, it's a really great question. And I'll tell you, it's hard for me because it has been blurred for me and my family forever. The issue of burnout that you bring up is a really, really tough one. And we think about it all the time in HR. You know, people are running at 1,000 miles an hour. We know, because of this world of technology we live in, information is bombarding you. I think it's a lot for people to absorb, and one of the things that I love about social, and when I think about social at work, it lets you filter a lot and I think manage a lot better than you can without it.
From an HR perspective, you know that. You know all the reports. You actually wrote the reports. So, you know, how do you translate this knowledge that people need to feel engaged with the business into something that makes people engage?
People want to feel a part of something, right? And so I think where you see these people that are the actively disengaged, as the research would call it, they're not feeling part of this company at all. And I think that, again, when people feel a part of, they feel like they're part of a team, they feel like they're part of something special. That vision usually comes from the leadership, and then all of the people around exert so much energy to put that vision of the company on the map and drive it forward, that there's just energy that then perpetuates itself. People who are not on board usually self-select and leave. That's nirvana of a company. And giving feedback is one of the biggest things that we struggle with, right, in organizations. We do our performance reviews, and in HR, what we say is, it should be an ongoing dialogue. This is not something that should happen once a year, right? If you have a constant dialogue, and I know you ask for a lot of feedback from your people, they can give it to you right away, real time. You know, again, if they trust you, that you really do want that feedback, that's going to be a wonderful thing. And again, I think the social applications that we have really allow us to do that and do it again real time.
My experience is there is two groups of HR people out there. Those who embrace it and say we do get rid of all the administrative stuff and we become the moderators, the developers of talent.
Right.
And the other ones who are saying, no, we have closed systems and we hoard everything and we don't give anything back. So how do we encourage those wonderful people in HR to use their talent that they absolutely have?
To be the facilitators.
To be that, yeah. How do we get this?
A lot of companies are bringing back a lot more robust talent development functions. So I've just met some people very recently in a couple of companies who have been pulled off their line, very important positions, and been put in charge of career development. So some very progressive firms out there who, you know, maybe at one time in their history are saying this is the easiest place to cut because we're worried about our expenses. They're now saying the opposite. We have to invest in this. We can't afford to hire people and then have them not work out, or we can't afford to hire the people and have them not develop here in this company. And big companies, you know, we talk a lot about talent mobility. Big companies, you have the opportunity to do a lot of different jobs. And I agree with you, HR should be the facilitators. You know, again, the technology that you have within your organization helps that a lot, because if it's an open environment, I know every job that's available in that place. So I can do a lot of self-service and then really go to my HR person and say, I'm thinking about doing this, can you help me with the interview? That would be ideal.
So what you're actually saying is that social technologies and the whole movement we are all working on can free HR to do what they actually want to do.
Oh, there's no question.
If there's one thing you would like to give to your HR fellows out there as a little like, get onto this, what would it be?
So I guess the main thing I would say is remember why you came into this function in the first place. HR, all of our processes and our things that we must do with compliance and audit and everything else, to the extent that we can make that a smaller piece of the job because we automate a lot and everything else, that gives you more time to do what you came here to do in the first place.
That's actually a very nice analogy to say that, you know, HR, you came into the business to help people. Social is all about, you know, have people do a better job, be more efficient. That's a very nice summary.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. And
you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Wonderful.